माधवा कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी गोपीजना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे राम हरे राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shatashri Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की, ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की, मथुरा धाम की, द्वारकापुरी धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की, गंगामय यमुनामयी की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की, समावेत भक्त वृंद की. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvanmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakhiyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. We are reciting from the 6th canto, 2nd chapter, 42nd verse. Yarhuparatadhestasmin Adrakshet Purushan Puraha Upalabhyopalabdhan prak Vavande Shirasadvijaha Yarhyuparatadhistasmya Adrakshet Purushan Puraha Upalabhyopalabdhan prak Vavande Shirasadvijaha Yarhyuparatadhistasmya Adrakshet Purushan Puraha Upalabhyopalabdhan prak Vavande Shirasadvijaha. Yarhyuparatadhistasmya Adrakshet Purushan Puraha Vavande Shirasadvijaha. Mataji? Yarhyuparatadhistasmya Adrakshet Purushan Puraha Upalabhyopalabdhan prak Bhavande Shirasadvijaha. Yarhi, when Uparatadhihi, his mind and intelligence were fixed. Tasmin, at that time, Adrakshit had seen Purushan, the persons, the order carriers of Lord Vishnu. Puraha, before him. Upalabhya, getting. Upalabdhan, who were gotten. Prak, previously. Vavande, offered obeisances. Shirasa, by the head. Dvijaha, the Brahmana. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. When his intelligence and mind were fixed upon the form of the Lord, the Brahmana Ajamila once again saw before him 4 celestial persons. He could understand that they were those he had seen previously, and thus he offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. Please repeat. When his intelligence and mind were fixed upon the form of the Lord, the Brahmana Ajamila once again saw before him 4 celestial persons. He could understand that they were those he had seen previously, and thus he offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. Purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Vishnudutas who had rescued Ajamila came before him again when his mind was firmly fixed upon the form of the Lord. The Vishnudutas had gone away for some time to give Ajamila a chance to become firmly fixed in meditation upon the Lord. Now that his devotion had matured, they returned to take him. Understanding that the same Vishnudutas had returned, Ajamila offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. So the Vishnudutas who had come when Ajamila had called out the name Narayana very loudly. At that time, Lord Narayana had sent these Vishnudutas to cut off the ropes of Yama Dutas, noose of Yama Dutas. So how powerful is the Lord's holy name came to be revealed to the whole world, which later on Yamaraj exclaims, Namocharana Mahatmyam Hare Pashyata Putrakaha Ajamilopitenaiva Mrityupashadamuchyata. He says that Nama Ucharana Matrena Hare, Lord Hari's holy name, when it is pronounced, Putraka, oh my servants and sons, he is calling his Yamadutas. Ajamilopitenaiva. Why he uses the word api? A sinner as great as Ajamila. Mrityupashad amuchyata. He was saved from the Mrityupash or the Yamapash, the ropes of Yama, which cannot be escaped by a great sinner by any other means. So Srila Prabhupada says that if a president wants to give amnesty to a prisoner, he can. Even though the prisoner is kept in the jail and he may be given a lifelong confinement till last breath, the president of a country or a prime minister of a country can give amnesty. Amnesty means he can release him. Therefore, a prisoner can directly write a letter to prime minister or president of a country. So if he writes and he seeks forgiveness, and if he has to be forgiven, if the prime minister wants, he can forgive, and he can surpass all other rules and can forgive. So in the same manner, one can avoid putting any petition to any of the demigods. One can put a petition directly to Supreme Lord. Ayinanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam budhau kripaya tava pada pankaja stita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya. So this is a direct petition to the Lord. Somehow or other, I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death, my dear Lord. Please kindly pick me up and place me in your lotus feet as one of the millions of devotees. So, if Lord so wishes, he can do that. Just like I heard the story of how once a ant was, moving on a branch of a tree. Somehow he slipped and fell into the river. So, you can imagine the ant in the middle of a river. How can it get out? There's a fastly flowing current. He has no ability to get out of the water. His only destiny is to drown in the water and die. But there was a bird, there was a pigeon sitting in the branch of the tree. He looked down and took pity on the ant, and he plucked the leaf and threw it. So the leaf became the boat for the ant. Jai Shri Shri Radha Chandra ki. So immediately the ant could board the leaf, and the leaf took him to the shore, the bank of the river. Then again he could climb up the tree peacefully. So that pigeon is like the pure devotee who takes pity to save us. And the leaf he puts is the path of devotional service, 64 regulative principles that our acharyas have instituted for saving us. We can take shelter of these devotional activities and epitomized by the holy name. Most important thing is the chanting of the holy name. All activities, deity worship is accompanied by holy name. Recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam is accompanied by holy name. Similarly, the japa is holy name itself. So, in this way, when we are saved by the mercy of the Lord and His pure devotee, one can. That's what even Ajamila, Yamaraj was amazed by seeing the power of one holy name. So now, yes, it is true that when Yamapash was cut, Ajamila was liberated from the ropes of Yama. So he was amazed when he saw the Vishnuduta's effulgent body. They were having 4 bluish arms, bluish body with mukut and kundal. They looked exactly like Lord Vishnu. So, like one man came to our temple and asked, "What is this? You have kept Vishnu outside on either side." Because nowadays people don't get to hear so much katha directly. So he was thinking it's Lord Vishnu standing at the entrance of Balaji temple. So I told him, "This is Vishnu Duta." So he was surprised. He asked, "What is the difference between Vishnu and Vishnu Duta?" I was explaining to him, because now times have changed. People don't get to hear Ramayana Katha, Mahabharat Katha. So much. People are into so many other movies and TV serials. So one should know the difference between Vishnu and Vishnu Dutas. Vishnu Dutas look exactly like the Lord, but they are servants of the Lord. So both Ajamila and Yamadutas were amazed by seeing the form of Vishnu Dutas, their effulgent forms, their smiling faces, and their bodily decorations, and their forearms with Shankachakra Gada Padma. They were lighting up the whole atmosphere there. So they are servants of Lord. So Prabhupada says, when in America, when Hare Krishna devotees would go out in the streets to distribute books and do Harinam Sankirtan, one professor noticed and then came to Prabhupada and said, "Swamiji, how is it that in your movement all your people are so effulgent? They have cheerful faces and effulgent faces when they are out in the street. These boys and girls, we have seen how they were before. They had long beards and long mustaches, long hairs, and they were stinking with nasty smell of liquor and smoke and drugs and everything. How they have become so transformed." Prabhupada said, "This is my magic. I gave them the holy name. By holy name they have become transformed." So Vishnu Dutas are also Lord's servants. They are very effulgent and very brilliant looking. And Prabhupada also said to devotees later, actually when devotees eat pure prasadam offered to Lord, the heart is purified, mind is purified, body is purified. And those who eat pure prasadam, their manners change. The way they speak, the way they deal, the way they behave, it's totally changed. Ahara shuddhau, sattva shuddhi. Sattva shuddhau, dhruva smriti. Smriti lambe granthi name pramokshaha. This verse says that when you, sattva shuddha means mind is purified. When you eat prasad, the mind is purified. And mind is purified because mind is like the microprocessor where you write a good program or bad program, and the servo motors like hands and legs move accordingly. So if you write a pure program, mind is purified, then hands, legs are purified. Your purified hand offers agarbatti to Lord. Impure hand smokes cigarette. Isn't it? So what activity we will do with our hands and legs and genitals and rectum and speech and everything will depend on what our mind is, because mind is the boss of the senses. Mind activates the senses. So, ahar shuddha, sattva shuddhi. Sattva shuddha, dhruva smriti. Actually, once remembrance of the Lord is revived and one becomes free from all entanglements by that. So, Prabhupada said the habits that a Krishna conscious devotee cultivates are made possible by the chanting of the holy name and eating of the holy prasad. Because the tongue has 2 activities, one to vibrate, one to eat. So if you eat prasad and vibrate the holy name, we become purified and effulgent and happy and joyful. So, when these Vishnudutas had come, at that time Ajamila heard the dialogue between Vishnudutas and Yamadutas, back and forth, like somewhat like a table tennis match. Who is going to win? You are seeing both the sides. If Yamadutas win, he will be taken to Yamasa board. If Vishnudutas win, he will be cut off, he will be saved from the Yamapash. So at last, therefore, Ajamila was the most attentive to hear every word that was spoken. Just like you heard in the Dundukari and Gokarna pastime of speaking Bhagavatam. Dundukari was sitting inside a bamboo pole like this. First day, one knot cut off. Second day, second. Third day, third. Finally, all the 7 days, the whole bamboo fell apart. And Dundukari was liberated. He was a ghost. He's sitting inside the bamboo stick. The brother of Gokarna, isn't it? 1,000 people were sitting. But then a Vaikuntha airplane came. Everybody thought it is for the elder brother Gokarna because he's the one who arranged for the recitation of the Bhagavatam. And he is considered a saintly person because he was born from the mango given by the sage to that Brahmana. So therefore, but then that Brahmana's wife didn't eat the mango. She fed it to a cow. So when he was born from the cow, he was Gokarna. His ears were like go. But he was a saintly devotee. So they thought he is going to go back to Godhead. But then instead of he going, his brother Dundukari was a ghost, was liberated. And the Vishnudutas at that time said, we have come to take Dundukari. And Dundukari had tears in his eyes. He circumambulated his brother and offered flowers to his feet, bowed down. He said, you are my guru. You saved me. Otherwise I was heading towards hell. By hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, now I have been elevated to the stage of going back to Vaikuntha. So, and after the Vaikuntha airplane flew up in the sky, all the people asked, what about us? We also heard 7 days. We were not taken back. Where did we go wrong? So then Gokarna said, you see, he was in a desperate situation. My brother Dundukari, he was in a ghostly body. He was constantly in pain and suffering. So he was hearing with a very great desperation that he wanted to somehow or other get liberated from that body. So every word that was spoken, he heard attentively. So he said, but not everyone was attentive. Others, somebody went to drink water, or somebody went for passing water. They went here, there. They weren't very attentive. So they said, give us one more opportunity. We all want to hear again. So of course, the second time Bhagavad Gita was arranged and 1,000 devotees attended, and at the end of the 7 days, 1,000 airplanes came and took all of them. So that is about the attentive hearing. So here Ajamila attentively heard the speech by the Vishnudutas, and the hearing itself is purifying. Hearing the glories of holy name itself is purifying, and what to speak of someone who will chant the holy name after hearing the glories, then naturally he will also get purified. But Ajamila wanted to express his gratitude to them when they saved him from the Yama's rope. But then Vishnudutas did not wait at all. They went behind and they vanished. Yamadutas also vanished. Now he was left alone after that. Why? That reason is given here by Prabhupada in the purport. The Vishnudutas who had rescued Ajamila came before him again when his mind was firmly fixed upon the form of the Lord. That means the Vishnudutas wanted to give him some time for doing the homework. And what is his homework? At that time, he was not having Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, which is firmly fixed, means he was not having one-pointed attention on Vishnu. He was just saved from the Yamapash, but he still had a lot of big backlog of impurities which had arisen from, huge amount of sins committed by him. In order to satisfy that prostitute whom he brought as a wife to his home. So he had killed many people, he had looted many people, robbed many people passing in the highway. So in this way, Ajamila had a lot of sinful baggage. His mind was very distracted and disturbed and fearful, having seen the Yamadutas. He needed some time to, get purified by practicing devotional service. So therefore Prabhupada says here, the Vishnu Dutas had gone away for some time to give Ajamila a chance to become firmly fixed in meditation upon the Lord. Yeah. Because firmly fixing our mind in meditation on the Lord needs some time. Therefore, spiritual life is not some occasional outburst of some bhakti emotion. Spiritual life is a consistent commitment. It is not the occasional outburst. Occasional outburst means sometimes people say that, the darshan opened, I cried tears. Or I heard that one particular kirtan, my hair stood on end and I cried tears. People say, okay, that's nice. You are fortunate to experience that occasionally. Regarding that, in the Nectar of Devotion, Prabhu Goswami writes that there is something called Ratyabhas. Ratyabhas means if a devotee is very pure-hearted, he is singing the glories of the Lord or the holy name of the Lord. Then if we happen to be there, we get affected by it. Because it is springing from the depth of the heart. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the holy name arises from the heart, emanates to the tongue and permeates the material covering of the devotee's body and sanctifies it also when it dances in the tongue of the chanter. So just like our Gajendra also, evam javasito buddhya samadhaya manohridi jajapa paramam japyam prag janmani anusikshitam. Here also it is said that he broke through the material coverings when he called out the Lord, he says. Which means he was very, very conscious of calling the Lord. So that spiritual consciousness permeated his subtle body and gross body completely. And that is bhakti actually. Bhakti is not done with identification with the gross covering or the subtle covering. Actual gross and subtle covering should become purified by the chanting of the holy name. One identifies, I am servant of Krishna, I am servant of devotee, servant of Guru. And I don't belong to this material world. I belong to spiritual world. I am insignificant. So these kind of feelings, when they dominate in the heart of the devotee, then it's a spiritual call. So and he was not in that platform because although he had called Narayana's name, it is still called, Niraparadhanam for one reason, because he didn't intend to be saved from Yama's ropes. He didn't diplomatically or cunningly make a plot that all my life I'll be a sinner and then I'll call out the Lord's name and I'll be saved. Some people ask, that is actually offensive. That is the seventh offense. So he didn't intend anything. He just called out his son's name out of fear and he was saved by Vishnu Dutas. So, but now Ajamila needed time to prepare his consciousness to return back to Vaikuntha. So they gave him that time. So this teaches us one very important lesson, that in the path of bhakti we need to cultivate patience. If one is not patient, one wants some quick results, then one will get fed up with the difficulties in the path of devotional service. Actually, we should invest our consciousness in what am I doing for Krishna, not on what Krishna is doing for me. Because if we focus our attention on how millions of lifetimes I have turned away from Krishna and I have wasted my opportunity in many, many human forms. Now, at last, I am allowed to live in the association of devotees. And I have got a Vaishnava Guru. I have got a very nice process in the path, which I am following now. Actually, this is our joy. I am rightly situated. Our greatest joy is that I am rightly situated in the right association and I am doing the right activity. Right activity in right association and right kind of guidance, and we have the right compass to attain the ultimate perfection in life of love of God. So this is our joy. Actually, what do I deserve? I don't deserve to go back to Godhead. I don't even deserve the association in which I am kept. I don't even, because this is a movement for practicing pure devotional service, and I've come with a baggage of so many unwanted things from the outside world. So I am like a black sheep amongst white sheep, or I am like a duck among swans. But I am also allowed to move along with devotees. I can stay with devotees. They allow me, they give me some prasadam, they keep me in their company, they teach me a nice devotional service knowledge, and they engage me in some devotional service. Actually, when I picked up devotional service, this was one of my early day feelings, that I come from a very impersonalistic background before, having studied so many Mayavad philosophy and everything. So I exactly felt like a duck among swans because the impersonalist philosophy is diametrically opposite to personalist philosophy. Personalist philosophy teaches how you are insignificant, servant of the Lord, and the impersonalist philosophy teaches you, I am Parabrahman. It's just the opposite of that. So how offensive it is. So although I was practicing offensive path, how Krishna brought me into this devotional path, it is very great Mahat Kripa of the Vaishnavas. So therefore, my only expectation was that if I can all my life remain with devotees and remain loyal to Guru and Guru Parampara and faithfully study this, practice this and preach it, it's a very big achievement. And we don't have to achieve anything else. If you have to achieve the spiritual world, that is not in our hands. That is in Krishna's hands. If he wants to take us back, he will take. Or if he wants us to be born a million lives more, he may ask us to be born million lives. But even million lives of being a devotee is a wonderful thing on this earth, because devotional life here and devotional life in spiritual world is not much different. It's very similar. Actually, if we are able to practice devotional life properly here, we will experience the same joy here, what we will experience there. So, therefore, if we are grateful for the position in which we are put, then there is no other expectation from the Lord, or no other demand from the Lord, no feeling of victim that this was not given to me, that was not given to me, this person doesn't understand, that person doesn't understand. We are grateful for being kept in this association, no matter the difficulties around us are due to our own imperfections in our subtle body, which is imperfections in our attitudes and imperfections in our anarthas, which actually cause us more. Actually, we create trouble for ourselves. So therefore, that homework has to be done for cleansing that mind. That's why he was given the time in order to become a firmly fixed up devotee. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekya kurunandana. He was distracted by that prostitute. He was distracted by the attachment to his small son. He was distracted by sinful activities of beating and killing and robbing people. So he had become distracted by these nefarious activities. So now he is frightened now after this episode of Yamaduta's coming and Vishnuduta speaking and everything. Now he has to take out time to study the scriptures, live in the association of devotees, which Ajamila is going to do now. He will go to Haridwar and stay in a Vishnu temple, study Bhagavatam, chant the holy name, worship the deities, eat prasadam, take bhayam and daily take bath in Ganga. All the pure activities he will do now. So devotional service means it's not just a theory. We have to study the devotional literature and we also have to practically perform it. To get pratyaksha avagamam dharmyam susukam kartam avayam. It should be practiced. Theory and practice both are required. And even if we have theoretical knowledge, and even if we're practicing, it is still not complete unless we live in association of devotees. Because otherwise, there are people who practiced individually on their own, but they never got an opportunity to cleanse their false ego by humbling themselves to other devotees. So, living in the company of devotees and surrendering our heart and life to a guru and faithfully following the instructions and then studying the scriptures under that sacred guidance and implementing practically in our lives and rendering what is that Krishna anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Ruttama. So it should be Anukul, it should be Anushilanam. Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, Pravriti, Nivritti, everything. One should know body, mind, words, how to engage in devotional service, how body, mind, and words should be withdrawn from that which is unfavorable to devotional service. Then only the mind will become fixed up. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Chaitanya Shikshamrita talks about these 10 items given in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Yama, Niyama, two things like this. Ahimsa, Satya, Steya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Yamaha, Shaucha, Santosha, Swadhyaya, Japa, Ishvara, Pranidhani, Niyamaha. So he says that if these 10 items are done, the mind will come to a ground level, he says. Two things he says. Mind will become calm, mind will become strengthened, he says. So this is given in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra as the first two steps. Ahimsa means don't injure others by even thought or word or deed. And Satya means always speak truth, never speak lies, and never cheat anybody, and never be duplicitous. Asteya means don't steal others' commodities or property, and don't steal the credit that is due for others. If somebody deserves the credit, honestly give it to them, appreciate them. Don't steal. And Brahmacharya means one should not, Sripad Ramanacharya says, Brahmacharya means one should not look at members of the opposite sex with the eye to enjoy. He says, what to speak of further things? You can say many more things. There are 8 things Yajñavakya says. Looking at a woman for enjoying, but having a dialogue with woman, or dallying with woman and for the sake of enjoying. Actually, these are all polluting agents for us. Although one is allowed to marry and have a proper grihastha ashrama, where husband and wife jointly practice devotional service. And there are also grihastha brahmacharis also. So one should actually use the virya for producing children and not unnecessarily squander it, waste it. So in this way, the brahmacharya means brahmacharya means always absorbed in absolute truth. So just like a cow is also doing charna, grazing the grass. Similarly, brahmacharya means we have to graze on what? Absolute truth, taking darshan of the deity, studying the scriptures, chanting the holy name, completely absorbed in it, soaked in it. And aparigraha means one should not accumulate goods more than necessary for keeping body and soul together. So I always used to wonder what will happen if somebody accumulates more. Recently I did a little research on this. I understood this point, that Shastras say that when you accumulate things, and if you are still not free from material attachment, then the things which you accumulate will also increase proportionately your material attachments. But if you are detached materially, even if you are king of the whole world, there is no problem. If you are like a lotus in the midst of a muddy pool of water, but the lotus is never affected by mud. Correct? If you can remain like that. And that is how Ambarish Maharaj was. Griheshu dareshu suteshu bandhushu dipottamasandanavajivastushu akshaya ratnambaranambaradishu anantakosheshu akaron asanmatim. Here is a description of Ambarish Maharaj's opulences. It is said he was living in a huge palace, had many wives, many children, and many relatives, bandhu bandhav, many relatives. And he also had golden chariots, he had huge elephants, he had thousands of horses and foot soldiers, and many chariot soldiers also, ministers and all. He was surrounded by all of them always. And he was wearing costly dresses and costly jewelry also. And he had Ananta Kosheshu, he said, inexhaustible treasury. So much treasure, because he was the king of the world. Although he was living in the midst of all these things, he considered all of them like a piece of stone, it says. He did not give any weightage to them. He was not attracted to them. This is the main point. That means the material opulences did not entangle him. The material opulences existed, as a consequence of his prarabdha karma. They came, but he was cut off from them because his consciousness was sold out to Krishna completely. On the other hand, there are people who can become attached to even small things, even if they possess little. So, therefore, aparigraha actually means detached from the material belongings, because actually it is not, the right word is not detached, it is non-attached. Because impersonalists try to detach themselves. They try to give up the things of the world out of fear that they will entangle me. And the karmis, they try to accumulate more and more goods. They want to do economic development, material improvement, bigger bungalow, bigger car, bigger bank balance, a bigger number of followers and everything. Because by accumulating more and more, they are feeding on their material enjoyment. And they are becoming more and more entangled by that. So materialist karmis become entangled, and jnanis try to become artificially detached. Whereas the bhaktas are supposed to actually take everything in this world and give it to Krishna. So that is the meaning of non-attached. So when one is non-attached, this is aparigraha. These are 5 things I told you. Shaucha, first one is ahimsa satya asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. Then these are don'ts, and then there are do's. And the shaucha, santosha, swadhyaya, japa, ishara pranidhane, niyamaha. These are do's. What are they? He says, shaucha means cleanliness. Take a bath, keep the body clean, keep the speech clean, keep the mind clean, keep your money clean. How to keep money clean? Give charity. Because if we, while earning money in this world, sometimes some mistakes happen. Sometimes Vaishya may keep some profits and tell lies to people. So therefore, if you give charity of the money gets purified. So speech, thought, speech, body, mind. Mind can be cleansed by chanting of the holy name. So shaucha, santosha means satisfaction. Is satisfaction an enemy of ambition? People ask this question always. Actually, if our ambition leads to entanglement, that ambition is a great curse. Our so-called ambitions. So in the Vedic times, kings also had ambitions. Like Vishnu Maharaj had ambition to perform a great Rajasuya Yajna. But he confirmed it from 5-6 different people that his ambition is not going to spoil his spiritual life. He asked Vedavyas, he asked Krishna, he asked Dhaumya Rishi. Although everybody told him that you have absolutely no false ego, you are doing this yajna only for glorifying Krishna. Repeatedly asked many, many stages. And after making sure that, yes, I am doing it for glorifying Krishna, then only he did that. So it goes to show that he was very clean in his attitude. Yeah. And Santosha, he was also satisfied. Even in the forest, he was satisfied. As a king of the whole world, he was always in a satisfied position. He never actually hankered for anything. So that's a great wealth. If somebody is satisfied with whatever position Krishna puts us in. It's not that we become lazy bums in satisfaction. We will do our work in a detached spirit. We should live in this world in a renounced spirit, Prabhupada says. Like I am living in this big temple hall of Radha Chandra. We have a very nice facility, ashram. We have this beautiful project of 6 acres land. And so what is our connection to this property? In this lifetime, by some unimaginable good fortune, we are allowed to live in a temple premises and then do some services. But we are only present here by some mercy, and then after some time we will be gone out of this place. We can't be here all the time. We all come in this world, we're put in a position, and then we move out. Actually, you will see in this world so many people have become kings, and then they have gone, then the next many kings came. Similarly, so many people, just like in a Rotary Club, you see every year they have a rotating president, correct? No? You come, and then you stay, and then you go away. Next year, another president takes up. Similarly, we have the Olympic torch. You run some distance and you give it to somebody, and then they run some distance, they give it to somebody. So we may be given some responsibility. That responsibility, we have to fulfill it with dedication, with commitment, with sincerity, with seriousness. And then once your period is over, you hand over and you push off. And if you have done well, Lord is pleased with you, then He'll take you back to this place. So, therefore, we should be satisfied and contented with our lot, what God has allotted for us. At the same time, when it comes to pleasing Guru and Krishna, one should put sweat and toil in making an effort to please them, not for our self-aggrandizement. So, Shaucha, Santosha, Swadhyaya, study of the scriptures. Study of scriptures means we should search Krishna in the scriptures. When you turn to the pages of the scriptures, as soon as we get to, like Mahabharata, you read, it's full of politics, full of so much of duplicity and cheating and looting and all kinds of things happens in Mahabharata. But the beauty of Mahabharata is still we read it because who is present? Krishna is present. Therefore, the shloka, Chanakya shloka, Prata Kalena Dyuta Prasanga, he says, and then afternoon time, different prasanga, 3 prasanga he says. Mahabharata means Dyuta Krida, they have gambling match. Similarly, Ramayana is all about Ravana chasing after Sita, correct now? Like that. So, although these literatures appear to be having some Rakshasa chasing after a woman or they're playing gambling match, still great souls read these books. Why? Because in these books, the hero is Krishna. So when the Kurukshetra war, we are not interested in any war. We are interested in Kurukshetra war because Krishna is present there. So we should search for Krishna in the scriptures. There is one verse in the Bhagavatam, Uru Vicharasi Swanaha, there is one verse, which means it says that anybody who reads Bhagavatam sincerely will very soon see Krishna emerging from the Bhagavatam, out. And Krishna's darshan will happen in the heart of the devotee who studies Bhagavatam very nicely. Vicharasi Uruswanaha. Vicharasi Uruswanaha. That's a Bhagavatam verse only, it says. Krishna is moving and coming out of Bhagavatam. So, that is Swadhyaya. Japa is the chanting of the holy name, which is the most vital thing. And Ishvara Pranidhani means humble disposition in the presence of the Lord. Prabhupada says when we come to the temple and look at the deities, what should we think? So Prabhupada says, oh sir, oh my master, I am here to serve you. How may I serve you? Like that one should meet the deities, he says. And another place Prabhupada says, when one sees the Lord, one should feel that song which Bhaktivinoda Thakur sang, that, oh my Lord, I am like your dog, Tomara Kukur. What is that, Vaishnava Thakur? Tomara, Sarvasvatomar, correct. Sarvasvatomar. Sarvasvatomar, Charane Sampiya, Pode Chitomar Gare. Tumito Thakur, Tomara Kukur, Boliya Jana Ho More. Vandiya Nikate Amare Palive. There it goes on. So, in that song he says, my dear Lord, I am like your dog in the house of my master. And whenever your darshan aarti opens, I will come running to take your darshan and I will dance in the kirtans. And when I hear the holy names, I will jump in great joy. And whatever little prasad the Vaishnavas give me, I will eat that prasad and I will be completely satisfied. Whatever uchishta they give me, remnants. And also, I will not allow the atheists and enemies to criticize you or blaspheme you. I will bark and drive them away. That is our devotees arguing and preaching and defeating scientists, defeating atheistic scientists and defeating blasphemers of the Lord. So in this way, I will just live at your lotus feet very joyfully. So your purpose is, this is the consciousness, Ishvara Pranidhani. We have to live in mental disposition of being insignificant servant of the Lord or like a dog of the Lord. It's a very joyful position. The joy of servitorship is million times more than the little, the little joy of being an imagined master in this material world. Imagined master is the Purusha. Purusha prakritistohi bhunkte prakriti janmana. Karanam kurana sangosya sadasat yoni janmasu. That verse talks about the jiva imagining himself to be the master. Krishna is predominator, we are predominated. Krishna is master, we are servant. Krishna is the enjoyer, we are enjoyed. So, if we accept our position, then by serving the boss, serving the master, we become very joyful. Actually, in this world also you will see, actually when all the parts of the body serve the belly and the belly nourishes all parts of the body. All the children in the school obey the principal and principal nourishes the children with education and everything, isn't it? All the people in a country pay tax to the king and the king nourishes the citizens with all amenities, facilities, protection, everything. Similarly, millions of jivas all have a common master, Krishna. We align ourselves with his will and we become protected, nourished and cared for by him. So, on this platform, mind becomes one-pointed. When the jiva decides, I am not going to struggle against Maya anymore. And so I am not going to fight against Maya to give me, demand this, demand that, I want this to enjoy, I want that to enjoy. When we give up that enjoying propensity and we agree to joyfully become a servant, become a joyful servant, that our mind comes to ground level and then buddhi becomes fixed up. Vyavasaya atmika buddhir ekeh kurunandana. So in this way, the Vishnu Dutas had gone away for some time to give Ajamila a chance to become firmly fixed in meditation upon the Lord. Actually, the nature of the soul is, if the soul practices the spiritual principles, the word is used, Atasri Krishna Namadi, Nabhaved Grahyam Indriyai, Sevon Mukhe Jihvado, Swayameva Swaratyada. See the word Swayameva Swaratyada, which means if one begins the service with the tongue of eating prasadam and chanting the holy name, the gross senses which cannot perceive the spiritual form of the Lord, those gross senses are surpassed or they are sanctified in such a way that the vision of the Lord becomes a very natural thing. Swayameva Swaratyada means Surti means what? The Lord reveals himself to the devotee, in the heart of the devotee, in the life of the devotee. Swayameva Suratyadaha, he says. So, in this way, when mind and intelligence become fixed up in meditation on the form of the Lord, then Lord manifests himself. And Ajamila became calm, cool, collected, fixed up, satisfied completely. Now that his devotion had matured, that's the meaning of mature. He says, or Narada Bhakti Sutra, he says, Tushto bhavati, tripto bhavati, anandi bhavati. Like that he uses the words. What happens to a devotee in the mature stage? It's like a kacha mango and a pakka mango. At this stage, in the beginning stage, Ajamila was like a kacha mango. Later on, by practicing devotion service, it became like a ripe mango. So, of course, green mango is not very, very tasty. It creates some problem in the teeth for anybody who eats it. Similarly, in our immature stage, we create trouble for ourselves and others. But in a paripakva stage, mature stage, one becomes like a ripe mango, very sweet for Lord to accept. They return to, so now that this devotion had matured, they returned to take him. Understanding that the same Vishnu Dutas had returned, Ajamila offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. Although the Lord accepts the fallen conditioned souls also, he's not only a Bhakta Vatsala, he's also Kripana Vatsala, it is said. There's one verse, Trastosmyaham Kripana Vatsala Dussahogra Samsara Chakra Kadanad Grasatam Pranita Baddhasva Karma Virushattamate Ngrimulam Pritopavarga Sharanam Fayase Kadanu. In that verse, Prahlad says, Lord is also Kripana Vatsala. So Ajamila went from a Kripana stage to, Brahmana stage, true Brahmana, or from a Kripana to a Vaishnava. So, what the Lord does, if when the Lord decides to give mercy to a conditioned soul through the holy name or the holy prasad or anything, he does some magic like this, as he did in this past time, and then he puts Kripana under the custody of a devotee, because we need to become an apprentice under a great Vaishnava, and then by being an apprentice, we get gradually trained and cultivate devotional service, Anushilanam we do, and then we get purified. Then we become offerable to Lord. Then our Guru offers to the previous Guru, and ultimately in the hand of Radharani, and Radharani offers to Krishna. Yeah, let us take one question. Anybody? One or two questions? There's a hand up.
Two questions actually. So you mentioned Yudhishthira Maharaj asked permission about this yajna to multiple sages. So in our life also we sometimes feel asking question to someone, but then if you don't get the desired answer, is it okay to ask to someone else also?
Yeah, actually, I would ask somebody who is my mentor first. Whenever when I'm doubtful about something, I'll ask my mentor. And also, we have many devotees from whom we draw inspiration, from our seniors, whom we see as role models, whom we see as inspirers, and whose spiritual life as well as their sound vibration we respect. So I also consult them. I have many seniors like that. I consult them. And at last I'll consult my spiritual master. If I have access, I can do that also, you know. And also we can consult our equal friends who are our well-wishers. We can consult them also because they are very frank and honest. They will tell you, hey, no, don't do this. They will tell you. You can check with them also. So sometimes if there are differences in opinion, then we have to have one ultimate authority whom you take it as final. You know, like in my case, I take my spiritual master's word as final. If he says do it, I do it. Otherwise, I don't do it. If he says don't do it, I won't do it. So it's not wrong to consult because sometimes when you go for consultation, not only they will say yes or no, they will give some explanation also. And that explanation we should note down. For example, say you are venturing in something, they warn you. That warning should be noted down. They are telling you for a go ahead with warning. But generally people only take go ahead. they don't remember the warnings. So when different devotees we go and you note down the warnings. Like for example, Mahaprabhu is allowing Jagadananda Pandit to go to Vrindavan. Somebody may say, oh, Mahaprabhu allowed, so I am also going. Okay. But what warnings he gave him? He said, stay for 2 or 4 days. He says, stay under the custody of Sanatana Goswami. Don't mix with the Vajabasis. You will commit offenses because they are spontaneous devotees. So he's giving some warnings. Conditions apply, correct now? So that's what I will do when I go to different devotees. Honest devotees, like even my seniors, although they are very affectionate and they will pat me and all, same time they are very honest in telling me that yes, if you take this direction, these problems will come. Be prepared, and then otherwise you can drop it. So it's good to note down and then be warned when you are venturing, because many nice things we may want to do have their own allied problems also. Of course, we have to take risk and do certain things, but taking guidance is always very helpful rather than consult only our own mind. Our mind can be a cheater. Yeah. Yes. Your question answer? Yeah, here one question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. You said means that bhakti is not done with gross and subtle covering, but it purifies gross and subtle covering. But chanting and all we do through our body. And
No, actually, the gross and subtle body are dead even now. Even now they are dead. Just like if I wear a gloves in my hand and I'm moving like this, is the gloves alive or dead? Dead. But what makes the gloves move? Soul. Similarly, now gross body and subtle body are powered by the soul. Just like this electric bulb is powered by electricity. If you know electricity, it will not. Similarly, the gross and subtle body function only because of the presence of the soul. So the holy name ideally should emanate from the soul, permeate the subtle body and gross body, and it should manifest outside. That's ideal way of chanting. But at the moment, what happens? The soul is wrongly identifying with the gross body. Like when you look in the mirror, you think, I am fair or I am black, I am tall, I am short, I am fat, I am thin, I belong to this caste, or I am an engineer. So that's what is called asmita, we call it. I am engineer Osmi, I am Dr. Osmi. Things like that. It's called asmita. So we are wrongly identifying. The problem with wrong identification is, as soon as you identify yourself with one wrong identity, you are going to do activities in line with that. For example, I think I am an Indian. Then I will think that I am a patriot of this country. Nationalism comes. If I think I belong to this jati, then I'm going to work hard for that jati people. Correct, no? So, if somebody identifying with his dog, he's going to spend a lot of time with his dog. Correct, no? So, therefore, we have to cancel all the false identifications. And we have to identify that I am a Vaishnava Das, I am a Guru Das, I am Krishna Das. So, that identity we have to. So, what do you think who you are? Is very important in spiritual life. So, once I properly, correctly think this right identity, who am I? I am Krishna Das, Bhakta Das, Guru Das. So that consciousness we have to repeatedly cultivate. By cultivating that and then chanting the holy name will be more rewarding. Is it all right? Yeah, thank you. Sri Prabhupada, I have one more question. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, in this pastime, there are benedictions given afterwards when in this Yamraj glorifying the holy name. So if somebody has bowed down the Lord even once or chanted even once, so then he will not go to Yamloka. So there are so many people, even the devotees also chant good amount of holy name. Afterward they make a mistake also. And
actually, they may not go to Yamaloka, but in this world they may suffer like Yamaloka. Like for example, even on earth also, have you seen people in slum and how they suffer? There are so many beggars who don't get food once in 3 days also. Is it not hellish? Actually, I can see even in this world people live lives like hellish life. You don't have to necessarily go to the Plutonic planets below. Even in this world, you have seen, correct now, how dirty clothes they wear, what dirty food they eat. They live in slums, many of them, and they fight like anything. People. Even the dogs also, sometimes in the early morning you find 2 dozen dogs are fighting. You've seen that? Because they can't control their senses, Prabhupada says. So what a horrible life it is. Or look at the pigs, what they are eating and see the lifestyle. Even on earth also, there are hellish lives. It's not that we have to physically only go to hell.
Also, there is benediction that they will not get the body of animals.
No, Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavatam purport that if somebody goes to Dham and is doing illicit sex there, then they can become monkey, pig or dog. Prabhupada writes that. So because he is misusing the human form in the Dham also, it's a very great. And sometimes Prabhupada says some yogis go to Vrindavan to stay. The goal is to perfect life. But after going to Vrindavan, similarly some ladies who have become widows, they also go to Vrindavan and stay wearing white sari. But sometimes these yogis and widows become attracted to each other and they both do illicit sex and both become monkeys. Monkeys or dog or pig, they suffer. And the only advantage is you can be a Vrindavan monkey. That's the only advantage. Because you went to Vrindavan and practiced. Some bhakti you have done that. So Radharani will give you shelter in Vrindavan. We can be a Vrindavan pig, Vrindavan dog or Vrindavan monkey. At least for one lifetime, Prabhupada says. At least means what? Maybe for some more time also. You can't say. So one should not take risk. Actually, one should not say, now I have bowed down to Krishna once. Now I should now. No more animal body, no more going to hell. Now I am scot-free. I can do whatever I want. Can we say like that? Is it proper? Actually, one thing, we should not exploit Lord's compassion. Just because Lord is giving lenience, we should not abuse that lenience. Rather, we should think that, just see how merciful the Lord is just by bowing before His deity. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Lord says mam namaskuru and I did namaskar and Lord is ready to save me from going to hell. How merciful He is. That is what we should think. In order to understand the merciful nature of the Lord, these verses are said, not for us to take undue advantage of.
When somebody chants even once, then all his sinful activities are
now, what is the meaning of that? Say, for example, you go to Vrindavan, there's a Balram hall where they serve prasad, right? No? So, if you have got the ticket, you got prasad. They say like that. But then I have experience. I once got a ticket in those days. And so much crowds of people at the entrance, Dhakka Mukha, you have to give push and go. And people are saying, don't come near the gate, stand aside, you will be called. They say like that. And then once we were peeping through the gate and watching inside, people are still eating prasad, the previous pankti. After that, they got up, they threw water, they cleansed the place, then they put the chatai, made the next pankti sit. Then again, we all pushed, only half of us could get inside. Other half are waiting. So it took almost 2 hours. But one thing you can be assured that if you have coupon, you got prasad, because that much prasad they cook. Similarly, you chanted one holy name, you are going back to Godhead. Your process has started. Yeah, but it is going to take time. Correct, no? Because the kitchen told us that if you have taken coupon, it is whose duty that to make sure that you get prasad? Whose duty? Kitchen devotees.
Kitchen.
Yeah. So they have given the coupon. They can't give coupon and say, sorry, prasad got over. They can't say that. Similarly, once you chanted the holy name, that means your process started now. You are on the right track now. But then you have to do homework further. Because the chanting of the holy name attracts 4 things. As soon as you chant the holy name, you get association of devotees. And knowledge about devotional service. And seva engagement. And Vaikuntha airplane taking you back to Godhead. So these things will come if you are consistent. That's why I told you, devotional life means it's a constant commitment, consistent commitment. It is not an occasional outburst. But it's a consistent commitment. You are chanting day after day, month after month, year after year. If you keep doing that, then these 4 things come to you. You get devotee association, you get knowledge of devotional service, you get seva engagement. Then all these things will ensure that you go back home, back to Godhead. Radheshyam Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much.